there. Another useful thing is string. It's also a fundamental data type. You see it doesn't bold. That's okay. That's okay. So string my string equals, now you can put a string here, hello world, and it stores a string. So now we have all of these data types. What do we do with them? Well, I'll tell you. What we actually do is we have fun. So first we can send them all into cout. So you could say cout x and then put an endl. Endl stands for end line, and it's another one of those std functions. Std is the template directory that we're using. So namespace. I mean the namespace, right? So this would just skip a line. Alternatively, you could put, if that doesn't work, you could put backspace n, or no, what's that called? Backslash, I guess, n, and that's a return character, an escape character. Sorry. So I'll put endl because it's what I like to do. I don't know, just more graphically appealing to me to see endl, which actually stands for end line, rather than backslash, that thing with the n. So we can send them all float y endl, cout z endl. So when you cout variables, you don't put quotes around it because it's a variable. And if you come from PHP, you don't put this $sign in front of your variables. You remember in PHP you have var1, var2, whatever. You don't put that $sign. So, and in C# you also put it. It's a scope resolution operator actually in C#. So no, you don't do that here. So ckar endl and cout my string endl. And for C character, I'm also going to do something a little bit different, which I showed you before. I'm going to say, put a blank space in here. So I'm going to put a space, and now I'm going to put ckar int. So I'm going to display the integer value of C character. And now I finish up my programs with cin get and return 0. What cin get means is it uses the C input stream, and get refers to it gets an enter. So it waits for you to press enter basically. And the problem with this, using this, is if you press enter on the cin, if you use the cin stream otherwise, and the user has to press enter, then it gets confused and it quits the program automatically. But in this case, we can use cin get without much trouble. And if you have trouble, once again, go to reconnetworks.com, where everyone will help you. That's what their signatures say. But okay, so oops, okay, my bad. ckar int. Let's try it this way. Okay, yeah, you have to put the int in front. Oh, sorry, in front of the. Oh, let's see if I can minimize this program. Put it at the bottom. Okay, that's good. So you have to put the int in front of it, because otherwise it confuses it with a function declaration. So I put the int in front of it, and now I have all of these values, and all of them are printed back to me. 5, 10.5, 52.36, A, 97. So remember the ASCII table that I told you? Well, here it is. The value of A in that table is 97. Also, my string displays the string. So that's awesome. You could also redefine a variable. So I could say, but when you're defining a variable, instead of saying int x equals 5, I can just say int x, and that's actually a declaration, because what the program does in this case is it gives me 4 bytes of memory in which I can put some data. So it's actually not only a definition, it's also it's a declaration, yes, because it gives me the memory. So now I can say x equals 5, and this is the, well, you could call this the implementation or this whatever. So this won't change anything, and here you don't refer to x as int x because you define the type up here already. Sorry, I have to take a breather. Got tired of speaking so much. Okay, let's continue. I should probably bring some water. Yeah, I'm having stomach cramps from speaking that much. Sorry for my squeaky chair, that's okay. X equals 5, so let's put x equals 150, and let's run this again. And so the same thing, 150 shows up in here, in where x is supposed to be. And so you can define them up here, and then well, not redefine it, but actually define it. You could say int x equals 0 up here, and then x equals 150 here, and guess what's going to be printed out? 150, correct, because the latest definition owns. Yeah, so let's see. Well, I'll keep that int x equals 5. So, or not. Let's look at the C input stream a little bit. So, I declared an integer x, right? And now I want the user to get some user input to ask, well, what do you want to be as x? So first I use a cout statement with the overload operator once again to print out to them something. You have to give them a direction, otherwise they won't know what to do. So please enter a whole number. Yeah, let's keep it at that. So please enter a whole number, and now we use the cin operator. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Cout, output. Cin stands for right input. Okay, so now the tricky part about cin, well, if you can call it tricky, is you actually point the operators the other way, so they're pointing towards the data type that you want entered. So cin is also in the namespace std. So if we didn't have this line, we'd have to either put a separate command called using std cin. You could do that, or you could just refer to this as std cin. But I have that using namespace std up there, so I can just refer to it as cin. So cin x. What this is going to do is it's going to print out, please enter a whole number, and now it's going to ask, yeah, give us x, give us the value of x. So now the value that the user enters is going to be stored in x. Now if that's going to be a character, then you're probably going to throw an error, and I'll go into errors a bit later, but for now just don't enter a character, otherwise you might crash your program. Actually, we can test that out.